Welcome to the Eco Garden House EGH 5000 assembly instruction video. Please take the time and care to carefully open the box and organize all of the components in an orderly manner near your final assembly location. We suggest using 2 people to assemble the unit, as there are parts that will require 2 people to lift and hold the larger components. You will need a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, a wire cutter or scissors, a step stool, a crescent wrench, a level, and a small flathead screwdriver. We also strongly suggest a drill fitted with a 1/8 inch bit, a rubber mallet, and a utility knife. In determining your final assembly location, we recommend your indoor location is large enough for the 48 inch by 72 inch surface and an additional 2 feet of spacing around the entire Eco Garden House to allow for easy access to all sides of the unit. The final assembly location will also need easy access to a 110-volt power outlet and a convenient way to access a water supply and a level floor that can withstand 1,000 pounds of maximum total load capacity, which includes the weight of the unit as well as water and plant contents. Step 1. Loosen and remove the straps from the canvas shroud. Unwrap and unfold the Eco Garden House canvas shroud. Unzip into separate pieces and set aside the roof shroud and the side shrouds so that you have only the bottom shroud tray. Step 2. Locate your final assembly location. Step 3. Place the black shroud tray in the desired final position, leaving a 2-foot space around all sides of the unit. Step 4. Install the fresh water tank with the blue cap and integrated 8-way manifold into the shroud by placing it on the side of the tray you've designated as the control panel side near the 110-volt outlet. The fresh water tank must be placed on the control panel side of the unit. Step 5. Locate the gray water tank remove the backing off of the adhesive strip on the top center of the gray water tank. Step 6. Place the gray water tank into the shroud tray by slipping the nose of the tank under the lip of the freshwater tank. Press down on the center line of the tanks to adhere. Step 7. Next, locate 1 male and 1 female support beam sections. Assemble the upper rear support beam on a flat surface by connecting 1 male header beam section to 1 female header beam section. Secure the beams together using 2 1 3/4 inch bolts and 2 cap nuts. The cap nuts must be installed on the cord track side of the beam to ensure they are facing the inside of the unit. Be careful not to over-tighten the bolts. Set the assembled beam aside. Step 8. Next, locate the fan kit box that contains the L bracket, thermal control unit, shim spacer, and 2 screws. Now locate the 4-inch by 4-inch black thermal control shroud in the main hardware kit and the freshwater upper sidewall panel. Take the freshwater upper panel and flip it upside down. Locate the cross in the center of the sidewall panel and mount the L bracket and the 4-inch by 4-inch black thermal control shroud swatch to the center top middle cross of this sidewall panel with the supplied screws, ensuring the bracket is facing towards the outside of the wall panel and the black material is facing the L bracket with the mylar reflective material facing the sidewall panel. This assembly will now designate the control panel side of the unit, as well as the top side orientation of the sidewall panel. Please note that you will have to flip the thermal control unit to install it correctly to the orientation of the sidewall panel. Snap the thermal control unit with the shim spacer into the L bracket. You may need to squeeze the side tabs to lock them in place. Step 9. Locate and unpack the box containing the 4 single bulb light units and remove the bulb from each of the 4 lights by twisting. Keep the foam on the bulbs for protection and safety, and set them aside. Continue removing parts until all parts have been removed from the box. Step 10. Carefully flip over the sidewall panel with the thermal control unit installed, so the metal stampings are now facing up, and plug the USB power supply cord into the back of the thermal control unit. Now flip the wall panel right side up and set it aside. Step 11. Gather one male support beam and one female support beam, the gray water lower panel and the freshwater lower panel. Do not use the wall panel with the thermal control unit. As indicated by the install stickers on each wall panel, attach the male support beam to the gray water lower wall panel and female support beam to the freshwater lower wall panel. Gather two 5-inch bolts, 4 washers, and 2 cap nuts. On each lower wall panel, attach the support beams, then install the bolt through the wall panel section and through the support beam. Be careful not to over-tighten the bolts. Step 12. Place the gray water lower panel and the freshwater lower panel on a flat surface with the metal stampings face up. Attach the freshwater side upper panel with the thermal control unit to the freshwater side lower panel wall section with the female support beam. Now attach the gray water upper side panel to the gray water lower side wall panel section with the male support beam. Step 13. Now gather the 2 gray triangular support brackets and 8 screws. Starting with the freshwater side wall panel, position one triangular bracket with its shortest side along the middle support beam and its long side along the parting line of the freshwater wall panel. Ensure the 2 holes closest to each other are straddling the 2 wall panel sections. Screw into the middle support beam using a level to ensure the triangular bracket and support beam are vertical before installing the 3 remaining screws. The middle bracket hole on the shortest side will remain open. Repeat this step on the gray water wall panel. Step 14. Locate the 4 single bulb light units and find the one that has a female receptacle on one end and a male plug on the other end. This light bar must be attached on the right side of the freshwater wall panel that houses the thermal control unit with the female receptacle up and the male plug down. Center the light unit on the side wall panel and snap into the metal stampings on the right side of the wall panel, opposite the support beam. Next, center and snap another single bulb light unit onto the metal stampings on the left side of the control panel sidewall, with the open male plug up, facing the top side of the wall panel, and the blank end facing down. Find the gray water sidewall panel without the thermal control unit, and center and snap the remaining 2 single bulb light units into the metal stampings, with the open male plugs facing the top side of the wall panel, and the blank end facing down. Gather the 8 U-brackets and screw 2 U-brackets onto each single bulb light unit. Step 15. Now it's time to attach the sidewall panels to the tanks. Starting with the freshwater control panel sidewall, make sure the single bulb light units are facing the inside of the Eco Garden house. The thermal control unit is oriented in the center top middle cross, and the center support beams are on the back of the unit. Attach the control panel sidewall to the freshwater tank by sliding the female and male connectors together. At this point, we recommend having one person hold the sidewall in position until the beams are secure. Now attach the remaining gray water sidewall panel to the gray water tank in the same manner with the single bulb light units facing the inside of the Eco Garden house. Make sure both panels are being supported. A rubber mallet may be necessary to fully secure the sidewall to the tank. Attach the male and female support beam sections using 2 1 3/4 inch bolts and 2 cap nuts. Be careful not to over-tighten the bolts. Step 16. Locate the rear header beam previously assembled. While supporting both sidewall panels, connect the rear header beam with the cord track channel facing inside the unit to the top of the sidewall panels by sliding the beam into the outer slots and pulling down from the top to secure. Gather 2 5-inch bolts, 4 washers, and 2 cap nuts. On each panel, install the bolt through the wall panel section and through the support beam. Be careful not to over-tighten the bolts. Step 17. Now gather 8 screws and locate the 4 black triangular brackets attached to the outside 4 corners of the tanks. Use a level to ensure the wall panels are vertical and secure each of the 4 brackets to the wall panels. Next, find the 2 S-hooks and 2 cross-support wires with turnbuckles. Step to the back of the unit and attach the S-hooks to the looped end of the support wires, and attach this end into the open hole on the gray triangular support beam bracket. Now locate the open hole on the black triangular tank plate bracket on the opposite side of the units from where the S-hook was attached, and attach the turnbuckle end of the cable to the open hole. Repeat this step with the second cross-support wire to create an X support structure on the back of the unit. Twist the turnbuckles by hand to tighten the cables and square the unit. Be careful not to over-tighten the screws or bolts. Step 18. Locate the 2 female and 2 male roof truss pieces along with the 2 plastic plates, 4 5-inch bolts, 4 spacers, and 4 cap nuts. Starting with 1 male roof truss piece with the notches facing up, assemble a plastic plate on the top and bottom by inserting a bolt with a spacer down through the top plastic plate, the truss, and through the bottom plastic plate, and secure with the cap nut. Insert 1 female roof truss piece with the notches facing up between the plastic plates to connect the male roof truss piece. Insert a bolt with spacer down through the top plastic plate, the truss, and through the bottom plastic plate, and secure with the cap nut. Repeat these steps with the remaining male and female roof truss pieces to form an X. Step 19. Next, you'll install the roof truss assembly by first locating the inside slots on the top of the side wall panels. With 2 people, align the male connectors on the roof truss assembly with the female receivers on the side wall panels and pull down to secure. Step 20. Locate the remaining female header beam, male header beam, and the light pulley system box that contains the 2 light adjustment bars. Please note that the left pulley system bar has 2 open spools, while the right pulley system bar has 4 spools with cordage. Please leave the rubber bands in place for now and do not yet remove the cordage from the bags. Install the female header beam with the cord track channel facing into the unit on top of the gray water sidewall panel by sliding the connector into the outer slot of the sidewall panel and pulling down to secure. Gather 1 5-inch bolt, 2 washers, and 1 cap nut. Slide a washer onto the bolt and install the bolt through the wall panel and support beam. Slide a washer onto the bolt and secure the cap nut. Be careful not to over-tighten the bolts. Now install the left pulley system bar with the 2 open spools into the receptor hole located in the rear header beam and the receptor hole located in the front female header beam. Have 1 person continue to hold this header beam as you move to the next step. Step 21. Locate the right pulley system bar with the 4 spools and cordage and feed the crank handle through the male header beam hole. Place the bar into the receptor hole located in the rear header beam. Locate the outer slot on the top of the freshwater control panel sidewall and slide the header beam down to secure. Step 22. Gather 2 1 3/4-inch bolts and 2 cap nuts. Connect the 2 front header beams together using 2 1 3/4-inch bolts and 2 cap nuts. Be careful not to over-tighten the bolts. Gather 1 5-inch bolt, 2 washers, and 1 cap nut. Slide a washer onto the bolt and install the bolt through the wall panel and support beam. Then slide a washer on the end of the bolt and secure the cap nut. Be careful not to over-tighten the bolts. The safety stop mechanism on the internal side of the crank handle on the right pulley system bar must be engaged fully into the male header beam. Step 23. Install the fan system by first locating 1 of the fans, 2 of the fan grills, and 4 nuts and bolts. With the fan arrow indicators pointing to the outside of the unit, position the fan grills on both sides of the fan unit, ensuring the metal legs on the fan grills are flush with the fan unit. Using the provided nuts and bolts, install the fan unit into the circular fan receptors on the inside of the freshwater control panel sidewall, with the fan arrow indicators pointing to the outside of the unit and the USB cord positioned towards the center control panel. tighten the nuts to mount the fan to the 4 plastic tabs. Repeat this step for the second fan. You will need to rotate this fan 90 degrees to the right to ensure the USB cord is positioned towards the center control panel and the fan arrow indicator is still pointing to the outside of the unit. Step 24. Plug both of the fan unit USB cords into the back of the thermal controller. Step 25. Next, locate the power control panel, 2 corner brackets, and 2 screws. Remove the clear plastic battery pull tab. Slide the control panel into the corner bracket and between the 2 shelf features. Insert 1 corner bracket into the indentation on the lower left section on the control panel sidewall and attach it with a screw, feeding the cord through the center of the control panel. Attach the remaining corner bracket to the upper right indentation on the sidewall panel with a screw. Do not plug the control panel into a power source. Step 26. Now locate the daisy chain power cord. Starting with a single bulb light unit that has the female end exposed on the top side, which should be on the freshwater control panel sidewall, plug in the only male end of the daisy chain power cord. Now run the cord over the truss beams and to the opposite graywater sidewall panel without the control panel and plug it in. Continue this action until all of the cords are plugged in, ending back on the opposite side of the freshwater control panel sidewall from where you began. There are wire tracks on the top of each header beam and sidewall panel. Snap the daisy chain wires into the tracks to organize the cords. Step 27. Find the light unit power supply cord and the single bulb light unit with the male end exposed at the bottom, which is located on the freshwater control panel side of the unit. Plug in the power supply to the light unit and feed the remaining cord through the center bottom plus opening below the freshwater power control panel. Do not plug the power cord into a power source. Step 28. Locate the top shroud piece and identify the 4-inch round access sleeve. This sleeve will be positioned over the light adjustment crank handle on the front side of the Eco Garden House. With 2 people, slide the top shroud over the roof truss and fit the small 4-inch round sleeve over the light adjustment crank handle. Locate the 2 buckle straps on the middle inside of both the front and rear top shroud piece. Pull each strap around the matching header beam, clasp together, and draw tight. Step 29. Now locate the right and left shroud pieces. The left shroud is identified by the Eco Garden House logo. Starting with the right shroud, start the zipper at the top middle of the right side of the unit and zip all the way around the top, ending at the top middle of the front of the unit. Now zip the bottom of the right shroud to the shroud tray in the same manner. Repeat these steps to install the left shroud. Step 30. Completely open the front of the shroud by unzipping the central zipper as well as the front top and front bottom zippers. Fold back the right and left front shroud doors, securing them with the clips located on the top center section of the left and right sides of the unit. Repeat this step to completely open the back side of the shroud. Step 31. Locate the 8 shroud straps on the inside of the unit on the top and bottom at each of the 4 corners. Pull the straps around each of the 4 single bulb light units. Connect each strap and pull tight, ensuring the straps are laying flat and the buckle is not on the light bar. Step 32. Now locate the gray water pump cord and feed it through the sock hole located at the bottom of the shroud on the gray water side wall panel. Do not plug in. Step 33. Locate the 4 light reflectors and 8 steel reflector clips. Remove the protective film from both sides of the reflectors. Start by running the blade of a utility knife along the ridge on the outside of the reflector to cut the plastic. Then peel the protective film off. Starting with 1 light reflector and 2 steel reflector clips, orient the reflector with the wider side aligned to the longest 72-inch side of the unit. Align the light reflector to one of the single bulb light units, placing it over the shroud straps. Place the clips into the cut grooves on the reflector and snap the bottom and top clips, attaching it to the single bulb light unit. Repeat this step until all 4 light reflectors are attached to the 4 vertical single bulb light units. Step 34. Once again, identify the left and right pulley system bars. Cut the rubber bands off of the left pulley system bar to allow for free movement of the two spools. Unbag and unwind the cord and hooks on the 4 right pulley system bar spools and let the shorter inside 2 cords fall down to be used on the crank handle side of the unit. Feed the longer outside 2 cords across the unit and lay them over the top of the freewheeling spools on the left pulley system bar. Step 35. Locate the lowest J-hook on the loose ends of each of the 4 hanging cords. Attach each J-hook into the 1/8-inch holes located on the roof trusses above the corresponding light adjustment bar. Step 36. With 2 people and the power cord facing the freshwater wall panel and control panel side of the unit, lift the 8-bulb overhead light unit and attach the 4 hanging J-hooks on the pulley cords into each of the 4 receptor holes located on the 4 corners on the overhead light unit. Step 37. Retract the overhead light unit by pushing down on the outside crank handle and rotating clockwise. Continue rotating until the overhead light unit is aligned with the top shroud. Ensure the safety stop mechanism is engaged when the crank handle is released. Hang the power cord over the top of the right side pulley bar. Step 38. Locate the upper side wall beam on the control panel side and loosely attach a zip tie around the center. Run the overhead light cord through the zip tie straight down just until it reaches the control panel. Tighten the zip tie, leaving slack between the overhead light and the zip tie, allowing for free movement when the overhead light is raised and lowered. For the freshwater pump cord, locate the lower side wall beam on the control panel side and loosely attach a zip tie around the center. Holding the zip tie up with one hand, run the cord from the freshwater pump through the zip tie on the top side of the lower beam and straight up through the hole under the control panel and tighten the zip tie so there's no slack on the freshwater tank floor. Step 39. Locate the 4 single light bulbs set aside in Step 9 and remove the protective foam from each of the 4 bulbs. Carefully install the 4 bulbs into the single light bulb units by inserting and twisting them to lock in place. Step 40. Now it's time to plug in all of the components to the power control panel. Starting with the thermal control unit, plug the USB power cord into the side of the power control panel. Identify the Timer 2 section on the front of the power control panel and plug in the freshwater pump power cord located on the 8-way manifold side of the freshwater tank. Identify the Timer 1 section on the front of the power control panel and plug in the single bulb unit light power cord and 8-bulb overhead light unit power cord. Do not plug in the gray water tank pump or the power control panel at this time. Step 41. Locate the blue cap on the freshwater supply tank. Remove the cap and insert a water source hose no larger than 3/4 of an inch into the supply tank. This tank will hold approximately 33 gallons. Once the water level gauge points to full, turn off the water source and reattach the blue cap. Step 42. Feed the power control panel power cord through the base shroud sleeve and attach it to an extension cord and plug it into a 110-volt wall outlet. Refer to the written assembly guide for instructions on how to program your thermal control panel's temperature settings and power control panel's timers. When the gray water tank is full, attach a garden hose to the male pipe thread fitting located on the gray water drainage plate. Refer to the written assembly guide for full instructions on how to drain the gray water tank. To install the drip supply kit black vinyl tubing, remove an outlet cap from one of the 8-way manifold outlets on the freshwater tank and slide the tubing on the outlet with a rocking motion. Refer to the written assembly guide for full drip supply kit instructions. Now that you have completed the Eco Garden House assembly, it's time to put the latest innovation in indoor year-round gardening to work by growing your own highly nutritious, fresh organic fruits, vegetables, herbs, flowers, and plants.